Welcome to Math with Mrs. Cox. We are on chapter 12, lesson 2, page number 909. And today we are talking about triangles, sides and angles. Remember from our handy dandy little anchor chart, we realized that polygons are 2D, no curves, closed shape, and straight lines. And one of the shapes we're going to talk about are triangles in this lesson today. You need to get your ruler that is off to the side and measure to the nearest tenth of the centimeter, then record your measurements. Remember, when you measure, you're going to measure from the zero, the line by the zero, and not the edge of the ruler. So as you can see, I've already measured a few of them. That would be close to 3. I'm going to write 3 centimeters. Same here, close to 3 centimeters. And the nearest centimeter would be 3 centimeters. So that triangle is congruent. All the sides are the same. All right, now let's come over here and measure this one. Again, we go to the line by the zero, and that looks like it's going to be 2 centimeters. Yep, that one, all the sides are congruent as well. Nicely done. Okay, we are on the second pair of triangles, and let's see what we get here, what sort of measurements. That one is 2 centimeters. Ooh, this one's a little bit different though at the bottom. That one is going to be 3, and the nearest tenth would be 3.5 or 3.5. So I'm going to put 3.5. Okay, now this side again would be 2. So on this one, the sides are not congruent. Okay, I'm going to come over here and measure. That would be 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. And then measuring that long line would be 3 centimeters. Ooh, special little trick. If you just watch the Math Antics video that went along with the lesson, you realize this red square means that that is a right angle. But it's not asking us to record the angles just yet. It will be later on in the lesson though. So remember, red square means right angle. Let's measure this one now. Ooh, that one is going to be 1.5 or 1.5. This one had a lot of 0.5s in it. Very good. All right, now let's measure this last one in pair C. Very good. Now, let's talk about it. Compare the side lengths of each of the triangles above. What do you notice? Well, I notice in pair A that something they have similar is that all sides are congruent. So I'm going to put A, all sides are congruent. Remember our minion friend Gru? There's Gru right there, congruent. Fabulous. Okay, now in B, I notice that the same story, that only 2 of the sides, however, it's not the same story, only 2 of the sides are congruent. Those ones are congruent, and then these ones are congruent. Congruent. And on the pair C, what do you notice is similar between them? How about this one? None of the sides are congruent. Okay, that's what we marked down, things that are similar Let's turn to 910, shall we? Don't forget your little ruler. Now, measure the angles of each pair of triangles below to the nearest degree, and then talk about the measurements. So I did add a video to your agenda today that's talking about protractors. And if we were in the classroom and had access to the box of protractors, that we would measure these angles using the protractor. And it is a life skill, so it is important for you to know how to use a protractor. But for our lesson today, we are not going to measure to the nearest degree on that. But I am going to write the degrees down so that if we had measured them together, you would know what they would be. If we had used a protractor, this would be a 60 degree, a 90 degree, 30 degree, 50 degree, a 90 degree, and a 40 degree. Protractors are really quite amazing. Please make sure you watch that video to understand how they work and why there's numbers on the top and on the bottom. 120, and this one is 30. Good job. Oh, I want to talk about this one just real quick because on the homework it's going to come up with a question similar to this. A little trick is, have you ever heard of the phrase 180 degrees? Well, for a triangle to have great angles, it needs to be 180 degrees. All of the angles will add up to 180. So look, 60 plus 60 plus 60 is also the same as saying 60 times 3, 180. Ooh, I wonder if that follows on these triangles too, if they all add up to 180. Let's find out real quick. 110 plus 40 plus 30. Write that a little neater there, sorry. 4 plus 4 is 8. Oh, 180. Ah, so for it to be the triangle, true triangle, each of these angles, their degree marks need to add up to 180. That way you can tell if you got the right degrees on here, as if when you add them all together they equal 180. All right, let's move to number 2, talk about it. Compare the angle measurements of each pair above. What do you notice? Okay, well, on A, what do we notice on them? They each have a right angle. Ooh, I'm going to show you a trick on how to decide if it's a right angle or not. Okay, so let's look at the letter L. If you can draw an L with the angle, there's a little right angle you can put in there. Then that is a right angle. But if it is smaller than an L, it is sure cute. We're going to call it acute. Acute is smaller than an L. Now, if the angle we can draw is bigger than an L, it is obtuse. Okay, so on the letter A, they should have put little red corners in here to match what I was telling you earlier. But if you look, I can draw an L right there, at least one right angle. But if I try to draw an L right here, kind of an upside down L, that's not a right angle, is it? It's smaller than, so that's acute. Same with this one. If I try to draw an L right here laying on its back, it isn't a right angle because it's smaller than, so that one's acute. So in pair A, there is at least one right angle that we can put on there. All right, in the set of letter B, they each have one obtuse angle. So if we pull that down and look, again, we try to draw a letter L here. Oh, there we go. There is our obtuse angle. So if we try to draw an L, that is bigger than a letter L. So there is our obtuse angle right there. Same with this one. If you try to draw a letter L laying on its back and sticking up, that angle is bigger. So they both have one obtuse angle. Okay, on section C, what do we notice that's similar about them is they all are acute. Are acute angles. So again, if we try to do our handy little trick with the L, see, they are all smaller. See how if I draw a letter L there, they're all smaller than that letter L. Letter L laying down, flipped around. And if it's easier, you can turn your paper too. I haven't torn my pages of my book, so it's difficult for me to turn that page around. All right. Number 3, make sense of problems. Explain how a triangle is a special kind of polygon. It is, well, for polygon, we had to have these qualifications, right? So we can say that a triangle, it has a closed figure, and it has 3 lines. Let's change that a little bit. Let's say line segments. That do not cross each other. Great. All right, we're going to do all of this guided practice, but we do need to measure these ones as well. Again, they want us to measure the congruent. They want us to measure the sides. So, two centimeters. Sorry, helps if I get it down so you guys can see, right? 2 centimeters. Ooh, that one would be one and a half. Did I measure that one right? Yeah. Okay. Fabulous. We are working on page 911, just in case you're just joining in with us. Actually, I'm going to put 2 there because I'm looking at that, and that is 2 centimeters. Almost made a mistake there. Sorry, folks. Number 5. Here we go. We are measuring along that long one, and it's going to be about, it's not quite 2. I'm going to put that there anyway. It's really close to 4.5. And we're going to come down here, and that's going to be 3 centimeters. And then we're going to measure right here to 3 centimeters. And what do we notice here about these ones? All sides are congruent. Congruent. Okay, what do we notice about this one? Well, this triangle only has 2 sides that are congruent. And you're welcome to go faster if you wish, and then just watch the video to double check to make sure you're getting your answers correctly. All right, let's measure this side right here. That would be 4 centimeters. This one, 2, and 3. One centimeter. Ooh, I'm going to say 2.5. Nicely done. Oh, helps if I get the paper on the right video. I apologize. And what do we notice about number 6? Well, none of those sides are the same, so I'm going to say no sides are congruent. And what do we notice about number 7? Well, it's kind of the same story. Again, no sides congruent. All right, now this next one, they have us, again, they want us to use a protractor and measure these sides real quickly. But for the interest of time, we're not going to write down the measurements. We're not going to measure the sides. But I do want you to describe if it's acute, right, or an obtuse angle. So we're going to do our letter L trick again. Remember, if it can fit in a letter L, it is a right angle. So let's try this out, shall we? Should get my paper so you can see it. There we go. If I were to draw an L right here, an L right here, and an L right here. Well, as you can see here, that this triangle, this one is, right here it's bigger. So this one is going to be an obtuse. I put an O for obtuse. And then I'm also going to say these ones are littler than letter letter L. And then I'm going to put these as acute. So it has 2 acute and 1 obtuse. Again, let's do our handy dandy little letter L trick. Oh look, I have a letter L right there perfectly. All right, let's try our letter L trick here. Oh, that one's smaller and that one's smaller. So it has 1 right angle and then 2 acute. 2 acute angles. Okay, letter L trick again. Wow, all of these are ending up to be smaller than that letter L, isn't it? So it has 3 acute. Because remember, if it's acute, it's smaller. All right, number 11. Let's try our letter L trick here. Oh, if I do a letter L right there, that's bigger than the letter L. That one is smaller. If I do a backwards letter L upside down. So this one has 1 obtuse. And then 2 acute angles. All right. Sorry about the protractors, but that's okay. You'll get to play with them in 7th grade. All right, let's go on over to 912. 912 in your book. In music, the triangle is an instrument with 3 congruent sides. If you know the perimeter of the triangle is 18 inches, what is the measurement of one side? Well, let's draw this figure and figure it out. So if I were to paint around the edge of this, and if I were to go around the edge, do a fence, it would be 18. So then, if I have to divide to find out how much each side is, 3 will go into 18 how many times? That's right. From your multiplication, you remember it would be 6 inches on each side. 6, 6, and 6. And we're measuring inches, so we know that it would be 6 inches. Number 13. It wants to know, measure the angles in the triangle. What kind of angles are there? Well, let's do our letter L trick. If I were to lay a letter L down and draw it up, well, so far they're smaller than the letter L, aren't they? Okay, they're all smaller than the letter L, so I would say they're all acute. They're so cute. They're all smaller, so they're acute angles. All right, number 14, referring to exercise 13, measure the sides of the triangle, then describe all of the congruent sides. So, still have our little ruler. We can measure. That one is about 3.5. That one is about 2, close to 3. And that one is about close to 3. So I'm going to say that this one it has 2 congruent sides. Two congruent sides. Which one doesn't belong? Circle your triangle that does not belong with the other three. Explain your reasoning. Ooh. Okay, so let's look at these. I'm going to say this one has, these sides look the same, and these sides look the same. This one doesn't have any sides that look the same, and this one has at least 3 sides that look the same. So 3, 2, 2. I would say this one doesn't belong because, and my reasoning is, it does not have at least 2 sides that are the same. Does not have at least 2 sides that are the same. All right, now number 16. How are all triangles the same and how can they be different? Well, all triangles have 3 sides and 3 angles. Draw a cute little triangle right here. And how are they different? They can all be different by the number of congruent sides, number of congruent sides, and angle measurements. Helps if I spell things right, huh, guys? Measures. That's why it wasn't working for me. All right, you get the idea. There you go. Fabulous. That ends the guided practice for lesson 2. Go ahead and stop the video and work on the homework.